What's going on, Falcon fans? It's your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Today is Falcons fan talk on a Victory Monday. We got a lot of things to cover. We're going to talk about Michael Penix's first debut as a rookie coming in playing with the Falcons and a pivotal game for us to actually get us back in first place. We're going to talk about Kirk Cousins, the rumors that's out about him, his future with the Atlanta Falcons. We're also going to touch on um, Terry Fontenot's future as well. There's been some things said about him and the job he has done since he been here with the Atlanta Falcons. Then of course we're going to talk about this playoff push, and in my opinion, the playoffs pretty much start on Sunday Night Football with against the Washington Commanders. So guys, with that being said, if you hadn't already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you're not dropping another video. Please hit the like button, as I know you guys are here to talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come here and talk about. That's right, these Atlanta Falcons. So we're gonna get into the first thing today, and we're gonna talk about Michael Penix's debut as the Atlanta Falcons. Um, I think what you think about what Michael Penix was able to do, I think the actually time sitting behind Kirk Cousins was really huge for Michael Penix. Um, coming in week 15, it's almost like when Patrick Mahomes came in to play the last game of his first season with the Kansas City Chiefs, and we know how that all turned out. Not saying that's where Michael Penix is at this time in his professional career, but um the young man just seemed like he was poised. He understood offense. Um, the operation was really good. Um, I think we had probably less penalties in this game from an offensive standpoint than we had in some previous games where it really hurt us, especially going down and scoring drives and things like that. But Michael Penix showed progressions. He showed being able to make all the throws. You can feel the zip on the ball, and then you can feel the confidence from his teammates. Um, Being able to have pockets. The Atlanta Falcons gave up no sacks yesterday, with two pretty good pass rushers in Thibodeau and Burns from the New York Giants. So you have to like what you've seen yesterday from Michael Penix. Like I said again, I think in my opinion, the him able to sit behind a veteran like Kirk Cousins was really huge for him, and I think it's going to pay bit dividends. Yes, the Atlanta Falcons are going into a spot where you know playoff or bust. This win or go home time now for the Atlanta Falcons. But I think going into a hostile environment like on Sunday night against the Commanders on prime time, it's really going to be huge. And I think Michael Penix is there for the moment. It's going to be a tough game, but this first game to get it out of the way, to get some of the jitters out, to know that he's right. I think he's already had the belief that he can play in this league, but being able to go out and do it, you know, for your first time in NFL against a professional team. Yes, it was the New York Giants, so we're not going to get up in arms about he was playing a team that a formidable playoff team, but that's what he will get this weekend. A team that's um, is playing really well. Now they have a rookie quarterback as well, so um, Jaden Daniels, probably the rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year this year. However, he still is growing himself, so it's going to be a pretty good matchup. But Michael Penix coming out, his debut, for my opinion, it's nothing more that you can ask for. Um, the only other debut that you probably can look at from a quarterback position for the Atlanta Falcons is a guy like Matt Ryan. His debut that he had, we all know his first pass was a touchdown. I don't know if you can ever top anything like that, but Michael Penix coming in, like I said, week 15, where the Atlanta Falcons still had something to play for, is huge. Um, and the time behind Kirk Cousins, you just can't say enough about that. So you got to tip our hat off to the professionalism that Kirk Cousins showed as well, being able to help Michael Penix get ready. His playmakers, You just can't take nothing away from what we've seen from Michael Penix in this game. So when we talk about the overall game in itself, um, it was a good showing for our Atlanta Falcons. I thought they started off slow, um, but once they got into the floor of the game, they found their footing. We all know the play by Jesse Bates, that pick six probably was the turning point in the game, and the Falcons never looked back from that point on. Definitely was a momentum shift, but in the end, you still had to go out, from a offensive standpoint with a young rookie who had never started before in the NFL, um, and played. He just played well. I know Raheem Morris said it's almost flawless game. Um, Besides for about like three or four throws, um, I couldn't see anything that he did um, that would not give the Falcon fan base and the Falcons organization confidence that he's going to be the future like they was hoping. So guess it's still early. We got time to see him, make go through his rookie mistakes. He's definitely going to have, but you know, being able to come in and being poised as was, as confident as was, ripping the ball as well as he did, you can't take anything from that. So, um, Michael Penix, your debut with the Atlanta Falcons was, you know, I still give it a B because I'm going to give you some of them throws to throw you through to Drake on the third down. It's kind of high. Um, he probably could have threw the touchdown pass to Drake a little bit higher because he's so big. You got to give him a better ball there. You put it up higher. I think Drake makes that catch and comes down for a touchdown. So um, the interception was not Michael Penix's fault. I think we all know that. The ball hit Kyle Pitts in his hand. Now looking at the time on the field with no times out left, maybe he probably shouldn't have threw that ball anyway, because then the team would have had to rush down and try to spike the ball to try to get a field goal on the board. So that's just some of the things, when you get more game reps, you think about that. Um, Not making that throw. Maybe he thought Kyle Pitts was going to be able to get in the end zone, but in any case, that interception was not his fault. Now we had a couple of guys try to get him in the end zone to get his first touchdown, but that will come here soon. I'm pretty sure of it. But kudos to Michael Penix. Um, it's safe to say that he is now and for the foreseeable future going to be the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons moving forward. So if you're going to give me, I give him a B plus on his grade. Um, don't think he could have played any better. What's going on, Carrie? Yeah, he did he looked really good in his debut yesterday. I agree with you. Um, I don't think you can ask for a better debut than what he had. Maybe he throw for 350 yards, four touchdowns, something like that. But that that was not the case. They didn't have to do that. Second half, they kind of took the air out the ball because they had such a big lead. They ran the ball 38 times, so that just let you know that where the game was. He did not have to get in the shootout. He did not have to go and throw the ball over 30 times in this game. Now next game could be a different story. The Commanders, have scored. If you go look at some of the games they have played, they have scored a lot of points. So the Atlanta Falcons might have to actually put some points on the board this game. They want to compete in this game, so we'll have to see. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see, those two rookies, Dan Quinn against Raheem Morris. I love the matchup. Just definitely going to see what it's going to be about. But the overall showing for Michael Penix in his debut, um, I think it's a B plus, and I think if the Atlanta Falcon fans are excited, they should be because what we seen yesterday is what we all expected, right? We kind of felt like he had the talent. If you go back and look at some of the things he was able to do in college, now a lot of things he did, he was a magician throwing the ball down the field with accuracy. and he displayed his arm talent. I think the question was some of the things that some people question was being able to throw, you know, in the middle of the field, but a lot of times this guys was he was taking the plays that was given to him. So um but if you watch if you watch the layer throw that he threw to Darnell Mooney on the sideline, that was spectacular. Right over the outstretched arm of the defender, right into the hole. Right between two guys. It was perfect pass. The progression he threw on another to Darnell Mooney on the crossing route. He looked it off, strike right down the middle, man. And then the one deep pass he threw to Darnell Mooney. If Darnell Mooney when it got grabbed on that play, he might have been a home run there as well. That was a great throw. He's just displaying all the throws. I think he made every throw that you can think. Even the little swing pass to Bijan, with Bijan probably could have caught it and went in for a touchdown there. Um, so plays like that you see um, from the young rookie was just totally command of the offense. So for me, to wrap this up about Michael Penix debut, you know, it's time to just build on it now, right? Um, got no time to waste. You know, can't take a mulligan and start over anything like that because next week it's just going to the pressure is going to mount and get higher and higher, especially going into next week game against um, the Washington Commanders. Um, So before we go to the next point I want to make, I just want to talk about our defense, how well our defense playing. The defense have 26 sacks. Just think about 3 weeks ago, they probably had like what 9 sacks on the season. So for them to be able to finally start to show pressure and get home, um, that's what you want this time of the year. Playoff push. You want your team to start playing on all cylinders. Still some leaky coverage. We need to be able to clean that up, especially in this game against the Commanders, because we know Jaden Daniels is going to take his shots down the field. So that's going to really be important for us as well. But for the most part, I like what I seen from the defense as well. 2 pick sixes. That's definitely a way to help out your rookie quarterback. And take all the pressure off him, but he can just go out and let it rip and have command of the offense like he had to have. So kudos, Michael Penix. B+ for me. And I definitely would like to hear you guys' grades on what you gave Michael Penix yesterday. Um, debut. The next point I want to talk about, since we're talking about Michael Penix, and we are here seeing the rumors and reports out there about Kirk Cousins' situation, and we're going to also talk about the future of Terry Fontenot because that's been another question that I've been seeing out there on the social media, and I just wanted to give my opinion on it. So first of all, when the Atlanta Falcons decided to pick up Kirk Cousins in free agents, from what I can tell, most people thought it was a good signing, right? If you look at the average value of the contract in a 4 year um, deal, 180 millions, it's about $25 million a year, right? The average salary right now going on quarterbacks is about 60 million. If you look at what Dak Prescott got, so yes, they paid him 100 million guaranteed. He got 62 million this year. Do probably what 27.5 next year, and then of course that other 10 that he would get if they don't cut him by the March time frame. Right, so that's the salary cap, guys. That's what it is. But when they signed Kirk Cousins, the whole idea was to have him come in and get the Atlanta Falcons to the playoffs. Now, halfway through the season, the Atlanta Falcons was 6-3. Everybody was on a high, and I don't know anybody that thought that the signing at that time when we were 6-3 was a bad signing. All right. Now, Kirk Cousins fell off a cliff. The last 5 games, that's what happened. He fell off a cliff. And so, in essence, Kirk Cousins forced the coaching staff, the front office hands to go ahead and speed up their whole plan that they had when they drafted Michael Penix at the number 8th overall pick. Michael Penix was never supposed to see the field this year. That was not the plan. The plan was to have Kirk Cousins, be there and to let Michael Penix learn from him, see a vet, that bridge quarterback. That's exactly what the idea was. Now, the timeline in 2 years, 1 years. I don't know if Michael Penix they were willing to sit him on a whole another year, go on a 2 year period, but we know this year, um, the plan was not to play Michael Penix. It was not. And the fact that most people, it seems to get amnesia and not know that that was the case. Now, like I said, Kirk Cousins forced the Atlanta Falcons coaching staff, forced their front office, who all their decision makers hands because the way he played, right? 9 interceptions, 1 touchdown over the last 5 games. They had no choice but to go ahead and speed up the process. They had to start the Michael Penix era when they did. Now, all of a sudden, we're in a situation where you got a rookie quarterback that's the future. They started him. Guess what? They're not going back to Kirk Cousins for all intents and purpose. Only way Kirk Cousins would see another snap in Atlanta if Michael Penix was to get hurt. It's just that simple. It's to the point where um, he blew it for himself, right? To even be able to make money for himself moving forward to other teams because the way he played. So um, now I do think another team is definitely going to take a flyer on Kirk Cousins and give him opportunity because over a 13-year career, he has played well for the most part. You have seen things that Kirk Cousins is able to do. Now he only had one playoff win. We all knew that though when they signed him back in, you know, back in the March timeframe. However, you know, this is a guy that's put up over 4,500 yards consistently. Um, Good completion percentage. You know, throw precision passes and things like this. Now, whether Falcons, could have underestimated the fact that Achilles had on him and his mobility and being able to not be a statue in the pocket, all those things, they probably did not take that into account, by giving him that big contract. But at the time, most people thought it was a good contract. But, now the decision, and it was a report that they plan to cut Kirk Cousins um, here before the March deadline, where he won't have to give him that extra 10 million that they owe him um, to make that the next to make the whole 100 million guaranteed that they offer him, right? So they will have to cut him by probably the league year next year, and that's the decision they have to make. Now, I would suspect that the Atlanta Falcons probably try to trade Kirk Cousins first. Now, he does have a no trade clause, but they probably gonna have to trade him first. That's one of the things that they might have to consider. They can do that, maybe for even fifth or sixth round pick, maybe. It probably won't be for nothing higher than that because if you want the team to eat some of that contract, you probably have to give some kind of incentive. Now the catch is, since he has a no trade clause, it has to be to a team that Kirk Cousins would want to go to, right? That's why the whole cut him before the new league year is coming up because um, you know, he might not want to go to the team that you're trying to trade him to. Now, if you look at what the Atlanta Falcons was able to do for Matt Ryan, which is totally different. Matt Ryan was our franchise quarterback 14 years, and it was able to help him, pick a destination where he wanted to go. Now, it didn't work out for him in Indianapolis, but they did help him. That's where he wanted to go. They made a trade, and we all know how that worked out for Kirk Cousins. Um, Maybe he can do the same thing. Find a team, quarterback needy team. Would probably put him in the same situation that he was here in Atlanta, where he'd probably be a bridge quarterback. Um, Somebody like the Cleveland Browns. Maybe I don't know if he would want to go somewhere like that. The New York Jets. We don't know the Aaron Rodgers. He's definitely come back. He mentioned he was going to come back, but we don't know. Um, Teams that really need quarterbacks and the Las Vegas Raiders, the New York Giants, more likely they probably going to end up drafting a quarterback. Look at a team like the San Francisco 49ers, which Kirk Cousins, have some familiarity with Kyle Shanahan. So those are some situations where maybe Kirk Cousins, decide maybe he would, you know, let them approve and make a trade with some of those teams. So that's where it was. If not, I think the reporting is correct. They probably would cut him before um, that mark, so they won't have to give him that 10 million. So in essence, they would be on have to eat about the $65 million cap hit. Right, that'll be the dead cap on the books, unless the team that they trade him to decides to, um, like I said, take up some of the cap space. So that's pretty much that in a nutshell. So what does that mean for Terry Fontenot? Because I've been hearing a lot of clamoring said that, that Terry Fontenot, our general manager, would pretty much be on the hot seat because of this Kirk Cousins deal, right? Um, so we got to go back, like I just said, before he we made this deal. Most people thought it was a pretty good deal, right? The front office agreed. They all thought that they had to go get um, a guy that could get us to the playoffs. And for 9 games, that's where we were. We was 6-3. We had to lead in the division. We was selling high. They was two. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers was 2 games back. We was cruising, right? And then you know the 5 game stretch happened, and here we are, right? We got a new quarterback who had his debut on Sunday against the New York Giants, and now Kirk Cousins' career, short-lived in Atlanta, is probably over. Um, and Terry Fontenot, since being a general manager, and have to go talk to the owner and saying, yes, we gave him $180 million, but we about to take a $65 million dead cap hit. Which, remember, 4 years ago now, we just got out of you know cap hell because of the situation we had with our cap sheet. So it will only be a 1 year dead cap hit, right? That would be um, really, really something to consider. So you look at the moves Terry Fontenot did make, right? So one in particular, you go look at a guy like Jesse Bates, right? Everybody want to talk about the negative stuff, but let's look at the positive. He brought in a guy like Jesse Bates, probably the best free agent signing that Atlanta Falcons have had. Um, it's one of the best ever. Be honest with you. You look at the production Jesse Bates has had in his first 2 seasons with the Atlanta Falcons. Um, you look at picking Michael Penix at number 8. Now, hindsight 2020, and everybody can go back and look at the video on draft night where I was silent for like 5 minutes when they picked Michael Penix. So I was definitely not in agreement with it. Of course, I came around to it, came around really quickly, understood their process, understood why they signed Kirk Cousins, and then they went and got a draft because the plan was, we won't be picking in the top 10 no time soon. So how are we going to get our future franchise quarterback? So they already got him on the board. So the brilliance and now looks like geniuses between for Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot to actually go out and pick Michael Penix. It's smart, right? You look at a guy like Caden Ellis, who's one of the only linebackers that has over 100 tackles and has 5 sacks on the season. Another good signing, right? Um, so you look at the moves they make. Um, you have to like some of the moves that Terry Fontenot make. We look at a draft pick like Armor Ebiketie, who's finally starting to come around. We was didn't know about that. It was really sketchy. I know I have been critical of him, but these last 3 games, he really has started to cut it on and showing some of the things that he was able to show when he was at Penn State. So Armor Ebiketie signing is another good move. Seems like it's going to be um, our left guard. I think we finally was able to solidify the left guard spot with Matthew Bergeron, another good signing. So I know everybody want to sit here and look at some of the negative things that Terry Fontenot has done. Um, you know, in his 10 year previous to Raheem Morris, um, But you got to look at some of the good things they have done as well. And first of all, just cleaning up the cap in itself. Now it's probably going to get jacked up again for a year, right? Because of the dead cap from Kirk Cousins. But um, you can easily go out and restructure a guy like Christian Initial contract, go out and structure Jesse Bates contract because these guys are not going anywhere. You just signed AJ Terrell, you can restructure AJ Terrell contract, right? So you have opportunities to still build this team with that dead cap that you're going to have, you know, with the Kirk Cousins situation, and sometimes, you know, like I said, hindsight 2020, because most of us right now are looking at the situation where we're at now, where they gave him $180 million and he was not able to deliver, you know, like we thought he was going to deliver. Right? He fell off a cliff, man. There's no other way around it. There's no excuses for what we seen, for what Kirk Cousins was doing. Right? That's why they had to make the change. Decision that I don't think nobody wanted to make from the owner on down, because you look at the money implications and you knew that the franchise was going to be looked at in a bad light because of that, right? But let's go back how bad they looked at us when we signed Kirk Cousins, but then drafted Michael Penix, right? So you have to let franchises run franchises like they're gonna run. Um, like I said, now that Michael Penix pick looked really smart. It really do, um, because if he can continue to improve and play like he played on Sunday and be better and better, I think the Atlanta Falcons have finally found their franchise quarterback. So for me, um, just close it out. Terry Fontenot in my book it should be safe, right? Just for the moves he made, in his tenure he been here. First, cleaned up the cap, bringing in some of the best key free agents that Atlanta Falcons have seen in a while. Guys like Caden Ellis, guys like Jesse Bates, being able to pick Michael Penix at number 8. Those three decisions there, in a nutshell, should overshadow, you know, the now it seems like a mistake on Kirk Cousins. But let's be honest, if the Atlanta Falcons would have not got Kirk Cousins, I don't think they would have got Michael Penix at number 8. I'm just being honest with you. I think other teams was really intrigued in Michael Penix, and I think if the Atlanta Falcons was sitting there at number 8, team might would have jumped them and tried to go up and get Michael Penix. The fact that Atlanta Falcons had already had Kirk Cousins, um, it was a surprise to the whole, probably to the whole country, that Atlanta Falcons picked Michael Penix at number 8. So to me, like I said, great pick. Now hindsight 2020, because if you go back to my initial reaction, it was not this way. But I understood it once they explained it, and of course, I was all on board. And now it seems like it was the greatest move ever, going out and getting a franchise quarterback and allowing him to learn behind Kirk Cousins. Because I also believe that if Michael Penix would have started, right off the bat, he would have had more rookie woes and things like that, because he still would have been learning. I think now the fact that he had an opportunity to see how Kurt operates, being able to game plan, being able to learn, progressions, learn his throws, learning the offense. Yesterday, if you've seen how Michael Penix looked, he looked like he had mastered an offense already. We know that's not the case, but the operation was so good for Michael Penix yesterday. And I think having Kirk Cousins on the team, you know, to start the season was really good for Michael Penix. So, you know, in the end, Terry is good in my book. Um, I think he should be safe for right now, um, and we'll see what happens. Um, Kirk Cousins, I think his short-lived, career here in Atlanta is probably over. I know he wanted to come home for his his in-laws and things like that and win one in Atlanta, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It's Michael Penix team. Penix gonna do his thing, and hopefully he keep getting better and better. So please, guys, give me your comments on what you think about the future of Kirk Cousins here. If they're going to actually cut him, you think they'll be able to get a trade to the trade to his destination that he would like to go because he have a no trade clause, and also give me what you think and how you feel Terry Fontenot has done in his tenure here with the Atlanta Falcons. In my opinion, I think inheriting a team that had no cap space at all, being able to fix that, um, hit and miss on drafts. Every GM does that, but I think Terry Fontenot, where he's really, really solid at, is his free agent signings. I think most of his free agent signings has really, really been good. Even the guys that have played here sparingly. Look at a guy like Carter Patterson, the way they was able to utilize him and get much they could out of him. Um, so I love the moves that Terry have made, and some of the moves he's made have been questionable, and I think that's all GMs throughout the NFL. So, um, but I think the good outweighs the bad. That's just my opinion. So definitely want to hear from you guys on that. Three Dirty, what you got? You said, "What's up, Falcon fan? PTSD is real. Welcome back." Yeah, man. Yeah, hey, I ain't gonna even lie to you. The last 5 games, I was out. I was out. I didn't have nothing good to say about this team. I just be honest with you. I didn't want to come over here and bore you guys because I would just been looking like this because I had nothing to say. I was be honest with you. I was lost for words, you know, and it would never happen again though, good or bad. I'll be on here. I try to come up with something positive to say because I always try to look at things half full instead of half empty. Be honest with you, I didn't have nothing full to say, so that's why I was the way I were. Viking three say, I may be a Viking fan, but I hope to see you guys in the playoffs. Hey, man, the Vikings are really good, and I believe, just my opinion, I believe the Vikings going to take the number 1 seed. Now they got to beat the Packers, right? They do got to beat the Packers, but I think they might go upset the Detroit Lions on the last game of the season. So um, I like what I'm seeing out of the Vikings. Their defense is really good. Um, so we'll have to see. Hope you guys deal with Kirk's situation. Yeah, man. Like I said, I hope it's a classy move because we have to tip our head off for Kirk Cousins, his professionalism, man. You know, the kind of person he is, the kind of man he is. I hope they make a classy way, the way they let Kirk Cousins go. Um, Kind of like they did Matty Ice, you know. Um, Now I didn't like the way they try to go behind his back and try to go with Deshaun Watson, but they did work with him to get to the team that he wanted to go, his desired team. If they could do the same thing with a guy like Kirk Cousins, that would be great. Because like I said, man, if you just look at his professionalism, the way he called Michael Penix the day he was told that he was getting benched and told him he was going to be the best number two. I mean, that's just the kind of person Kirk Cousin is. So as a person, you have to like that from a standpoint. But as a quarterback, man, he let us down, and that's why they had to make the decision they had to make. He kind of forced the Falcons' hand to speed up this process. So, um, yep, that's good. Yeah, thank you. I like the rookie quarterbacks. Looks great, dangerous in NFC. Hopefully for the future to come, man. I can tell you this. Um, it's a lot of rookie quarterbacks coming in this league, a lot of young quarterbacks. So the NFL is in good hands, right? We thought it was going to be kind of stale down after some of the greats left, but you look at guys like C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels. Um, I love the kid um, from New England as well. I think he's going to be solid. Of course, you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Lamar Jackson, you got Josh Allen. Man, you got a lot of good quarterbacks. You got the kid. I can't think of the kid from Green Bay. Just All those guys are really good. I mean, and honestly, man, you gotta have a good quarterback. So, and I hope we hope to add Michael Penix to that list. So that's what we hope to see. I love what Bo Nix is doing as well. So the NFL is in good hands. It's kind of the opposite of what we're seeing from the NBA, where some of the greats are getting old and about to leave, and then you want some of the young guys to take the mantle, but they're just not doing it. So Jordan Love, thanks. I couldn't think his name. Jordan Love, but yeah, you know, um, the NFL is in good hand with young guys, but like the NBA is like total opposite, right? It seems like all the greats are getting old and about to retire here soon, and who's going to be the next guy? You got a couple young guys that are talented, but it's not the same. So we'll see how it pans out, right? But guys, definitely let me know what you think about Kirk Cousins and Terry Fontenot. All right, let's get to the next point. Um, and here we have it, guys. Yes, guys, I think all of us last night um, was rooting for. Yep, let's say it. The Dallas Cowboys. Yes, like on Sunday Night Football. Yes, we was all rooting for the Dallas Cowboys. Um, and selfishly, I'm glad they played the way they played. And those boys played last night. We're gonna get it. They was hitting. Um, they played great football last night. They made the plays they need to make to get a win. They had nothing to play for but for pride. And you have to tip your hat off to the Dallas Cowboys, and that's why I love the NFL, because it's when it says any given Sunday, that's just goes to show you there's a lot of injuries on their defensive side of the ball. They're starting quarterback out. Their best player is CD Lamb on the offensive side of the ball. Shoulder is hurting. He's still out there balling with nothing on the line. So you have to like what you see from the Dallas Cowboys last night. And with that being said, the Atlanta Falcons are back in first place. It's just that simple. Back in first place in the NFC South, which means they went out, they host a playoff game. They went out, they host a playoff game. Which, if you look at the title here, which means, in my opinion, the playoff starts in Maryland on Sunday night against the Washington Commanders. That's when the playoffs start for the Atlanta Falcons. It's no other way around it. They need to treat this game like a playoff game. Well, I mean, the last two games should have been the same, but they was going up against teams that, probably vying for the number one pick in the draft, in the Las Vegas Raiders and the New York Giants. But in this case, um, it goes without saying this game is going to be really, really important for the Atlanta Falcons, right? They have to come out. Um, Raheem Morris need to do in my opinion, the way he planned for the Super Bowl. That's the way he needed to game plan for this game, right? Moving forward, right? Because these last two games of the regular seasons is in essence a playoff game, because the Atlanta Falcons want to host, you know, a playoff game, in the first round. They need to win out. They own their own destiny. They don't need another team to lose. They need to win. It's just that simple. They need to treat it as such. And if they can do that, just like Raheem Morris said at the beginning of the season, you don't know what could happen. Yes, it's some really, really good teams in this NFL, right? Um, from the Detroit Lions to the Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers, just the NFC itself. The Philadelphia Eagles, a team that Atlanta Falcons beat, who's playing, completely different football right now from when we played them in week two. You go to AFC, the way Buffalo, um, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Chiefs, who haven't lost for one game, who we almost could have got in our game as well. So um, you don't know what's going to happen when you get to the playoffs. So game on Sunday is going to be huge. Atlanta Falcons are in first place. They own their own destiny. They need to just lay it all out, right? It's just that simple. Um, and if they can do that, if the Atlanta Falcons do that, um, you know, playoff bound, baby. First time the Atlanta Falcons go to the playoffs since 2017. That's that's where we need to be. And then if you look at all the things, go back to my last segment when I talked about Kirk Cousins and I talked about Terry Fontenot, it'll all be worth it, right? Kirk Cousins got to the 6-3. He fell off a cliff, but we can finish somehow and get into the playoffs. This is where the Atlanta Falcons was trying to do this year. It wasn't trying to win at all. They're not there yet. And as a Falcons fan, I know that, right? And I hope most of you Falcon fans understand that as well. They're not completely there yet as a team, right? They got a lot of more things they got to do to get better. Um, more more personnel. They got to fix their pass rush. Um, Penix now taking over. Got to have more time, get more confident to be able to do some of the things he could do. Um, so I think getting to the playoffs is a win for Atlanta Falcons this year, and that's the way they should look at it. Now, I also said what Raheem said. You get there, you don't know what could happen, right? So you get in the playoffs. Hey, it's a new season, man. It's a tournament. Then you know you start you get on a hot streak. You can run off 4 games and you there. That's the way you can look at it. But um, you got to get there first, and um, having being able to own your own destiny from Atlanta Falcons standpoint, that's is where they need to look at it. That's how they need to look at it, and I hope that's the way they're looking at it. I know they're not saying, "Oh, just another game." It's not just another game, right? Um, you lost it. You lost the first place. You was giving it back. Now it's on you. I think everybody in that locker room understands that. Now it's not going to be easy because the Commanders is a good team, right? We're going to their home. Um, we don't play the Commanders the last 2 seasons, and I think they don't won the last 2 times we played them. So it's time for get back. Um, we really need to try to get this win. Really need to try to get this win. So, but it starts on Sunday Night Football. They flexed this game to a prime time just for this reason because they knew it was going to be a big implication of the game. Now, at the time when they did it, they didn't know Kirk Cousins was not going to be quarterback. But it's this is something for the script writers in the NFL to to write something like this, right? Because you got two rookies going up against each other. The Heisman winner and the Heisman runner up of last year Heisman race, um, and Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix Jr. going head to head. Now Jaden Daniels got a head start. He's been playing all season, so he's ready to go. He got the whole team behind him. They got Dan Quinn up there with the brotherhood and all that stuff. So we know what that's all about. We know it's real, right? Um, First 2 seasons of Dan Quinn, you know, the Atlanta Falcons was in the Super Bowl. So we know how Dan Quinn can galvanize players and get those guys ready. So, but Raheem Morris learned up under Dan Quinn for 5 seasons, so he know what that's all about as well. So, I think it's going to be a good matchup. But the Atlanta Falcons need to understand going there. It's like, hey, by any means necessary. It's no reason to put out keys and things like that at this point of the season because when you're trying to get in the playoffs, none of that stuff matters. It's about getting a W by any means necessary, right? If you have to go out and kick 5 field goals and your defense plays really good and that's the way you have to do it, do that. If you have to get, you know, 3 turnovers and you win like that. You have to get a block punt, right? A kickoff return, punt return, whatever you have to do to get this win, right? Um, and that's the way they look at it. Because if they take another loss, looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule, playing against, two division opponents, so it's not all said and done. The Tampa Bay is actually it's gonna beat the Aints and the Panthers, right? The last 2 games of the season for them. However, um, you don't want to leave it into those hands, those 2 teams' hand. The Atlanta Falcons on their own destiny. they need to be able to go out and take care of business and get it done. And in my opinion, the playoff starts on Sunday. It's no doubts about it. Um, but Atlanta Falcons back in first place again, and you gotta love it. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So, guys, that's where I'm at today. I went down a lot. Talked about Michael Penix's debut. We talked about the future of Kirk Cousins and Terry Fontenot. We also talked about Atlanta Falcons being back in first place again. Trading these last two games as playoff games where they need to start hitting their streak right now, right? They say teams going to hot streak. Look at the teams like the New York Giants. Um, when they went on that hot streak, they went on. I think they did it 2 years, and they did it twice, right? When they won the Super Bowl, Eli Manning, right? They went on the streak. Look at what Joe Flacco was able to do in 2012. That performance he had in that playoff run, it can happen. Believe me when I tell you, it can happen. Once you get hot, look at a team like the Dallas Mavericks in 2011 when they went on a hot streak and was able to beat all the teams they was able to beat. They beat a team in the Lakers who had just came off winning the championship. Then they beat that freaking team with Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh, right? They beat that team. So, you know, teams can go on runs in sports. Sports, that's what sports all about. Momentum, playing your best ball at the right time, right? And that's what Atlanta Falcons need to do starting on Sunday. Play their best ball at the right time. And then, like Raheem said, you don't know what could happen. When you get in the playoffs, all bets are off, man. And being able to host a game in your home stadium for the first time since the Mercedes-Benz Stadium opened up um, would be huge for this organization this season. 330 says does our run game with Penix become X factor for a cold night game in Washington? That's a great point, man. I have to go back and look. I haven't really dived into Washington defense so far. I got to go back and look and see because we haven't um, played them in a while. But I think they still got those two stout defensive tackles in there. Dan Quinn plays a certain type of ball the way he loved to play. His defense linemen, they get right up the field. They're not the kind that hold and let linebackers do anything. Those guys shoot the gap. So, trying to run that run game we run is going to be kind of tough. But I think we have the offensive linemen to be able to do that. So it's going to be interesting to see. It was some plays. Speaking of Michael Penix and the read option, it was some plays yesterday where I felt like he probably could have kept the ball on the read option, and maybe they might institute that a little bit more. Now, Michael Penix is not a running quarterback. I think he stopped that. Now, the interesting thing, he was right. If you go back and look at him, he played at the University of Indiana. He ran a little bit more than he did when he got to the University of Washington, and I think that's due to a lot of the injuries that he sustained. So he stopped taking off a whole lot. Um, so um, it's going to be. I agree that the run game is going to be important. Our run game is always important because we got two of the best backs in the league, and our offensive line is so good, being able to get off blocks and get downfield. So that's going to be really, 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 really good. So um, run game is going to be a factor. But Michael Penix probably gonna have to go out and throw the rock. Now, to your point, it's going to be cold, um, you know, so that's going to be interesting to see how the Atlanta Falcons play in those cold, weather. I, I still go back and think about. I think it was 2004, and Michael Vick with the Philly in the playoff game. Man, those guys didn't want to play. Those guys didn't want to play. So you said Philly put up 211 rushing yard. Yes, they did. So I think you have an opportunity to run the ball. So that's good. I'm glad you mentioned that. So the run game is going to definitely play a factor in this game, and if we can play keep away from the Commanders, that would be awesome. I think their run game is going to play a factor as well. Um, if you go back to was it last year? Um, we couldn't stop their run game, man. It's like I think that was the game where we had like 6 or 7 possessions on offense because they controlled the clock so much with the run game. And then you add in Jaden Daniels as a runner as well. So Atlanta Falcons going to definitely have their hands full with the Commanders this week. Um, so we'll just have to see how that pans out. I definitely know our run game is definitely going to be a factor, especially with a rookie cornerback. You want to be able to take some off his plate anyway, but you know you want to feature Bijan and Tyler, so you would that would be I think part of any um, game plan any week anyway because of those two guys and our offensive line. So um, they got to stop what we do well, and what we do well is pound the ball, right? Um, and Michael Penix can be able to take advantage of that with the play action, getting the ball down the field to our weapons. Um, so so guys, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Um, won't be back on this week. Um, maybe later on this week, maybe if we hear some of the injury reports, we need to find out. Could Drake went out on hamstring. Raheem said he could have came back in the game, so we'll definitely have to see about him. But for the most part, I think the Atlanta Falcons are healthy going into this big game on Sunday night. So definitely we get some more reporting on that. We're gonna come back and we'll talk about that. But I want you guys to have a Merry Christmas, um, good holidays, and let's get ready for this Sunday night football game in prime time against the Washington Commanders. And that's all I have. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.